Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's Gabi here from Create Your Future. I'm a master NLP practitioner, an EFT coach, and a law of assumption coach. And I am here to guide you each week as we dive into the law of assumption to help you generate your reality. If you're looking for a little bit more help with your specific situation, go ahead and check out my coaching options. That's in the description box below. I also have an amazing SP meditation that brings you into the alpha state. It's called Limitless Love. Many of my clients are utilizing that to bring in their current SPs, their exes, and new SPs. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. It's in the description box below. We're also giving away a free course on how to remove your blocks in the description box below. Okay, let's dig into this. This week's topic is on how do I manifest my ex on a time crunch? You heard me, time crunch. Okay, we're talking about how do we handle and control and generate our hows and our wins. Can you do this? Yes, of course, you absolutely can. You can manifest anything. You can have, be, or do anything that you desire, and you can have it when you want it, how you want it. Okay. The key is that when you're manifesting on a time crunch, you have to, just like you have to with any other manifestation component, not focus on the 3D circumstances or conditions. So I'm going to talk you through really quickly just a few tips and tricks, and then we're going to go through my client success story. Okay. So a couple of tips and tricks for manifesting on a time crunch. The first one is no matter what shows up in your 3D, circumstances or conditions, you have to remind yourself those are just whispers, those are just shadows, those are just part of your old story. And so in that moment that they show up, you have two choices. One, you can say, I prefer this. I believe this. I'm assuming that this is true, talking about the 3D circumstance. Or you can say, thanks for showing up. I don't choose that anymore. You're not my preference. And tell yourself your new story. Again, whatever you assume to be true for you is what manifests into your reality. So why not assume that what you desire is what's true for you versus what's showing up in the 3D, right? Okay, so that's the first tip. The second tip is releasing resistance. Oftentimes when you hear from me on here or in a coaching session, we typically don't want to focus too specifically on how or when with your manifestation because it adds more resistance. If you're holding on to something really tight and you're telling yourself it has to be like this, it has to be like this, you can create a resistant story to that. However, if you hold on to it pretty loosely, as in, you know what, it'd be really great if it showed up this way, but as long as it shows up, don't really care, then what you do is you're actually telling yourself you can still have it how you want it. It just doesn't really matter how it shows up or when, right? So you want to make sure that you've got the least amount of resistance as possible. A great way to do this is to just check in with yourself. Would I be okay if it showed up a year from now? What about if it showed up a week from now? Okay, here's the hard part. You got to be honest with yourself. Okay, you have to ask yourself, would I really truly be okay? Would I be okay if this showed up a year from now? Most of the time, the answer is yes, because it's really the desire, the experience of the desire that you're looking for, not necessarily the having it right now. Oftentimes, when we have a feeling of having it right now or wanting it right now, that's really because we're coming from a place of lack. We're afraid that we won't get it. So we're thinking if we have it now, if we push for it now, if we focus on manifesting it now, then it's going to show up and then we can release the fear of not having it. That's not really how it works. If we think about it, it's kind of a backwards thought process, right? If we're saying, oh, well, we have to have it now to show us that we have it now, then what are you going to get more of? Not having it now, right? Because we're putting our awareness on the fact that we don't have it. So, like I've mentioned in my previous videos before, your awareness, what you're focusing on most, what your dominant thoughts are on most, is really what ends up happening as far as what shows up in your 3D and how your world shifts. So, we really want to be thinking a lot about, okay, I'm okay now. I am perfect, whole, and complete as I am now. I can be, do, and have anything that I desire now because I'm good enough, because I'm amazing enough, because I'm worthy enough, because I said so. All of those things are true. You're amazing just as you are. You can be, do, or have anything that you want, when you want it, how you want it. The only key is to not hold resistance to that. Okay. So let's talk a little bit through what exactly my client did and how she did it in order to manifest her ex on a timeline. So I've been working with a client whose birthday is actually coming up. Her birthday will be next week. And she and her specific person were together for 2 years. They broke up shortly after they started talking about marriage. The story was that she had of her specific person was that he was deathly afraid to get married, that he was not commitment ready, that that was just something he was adamantly not ready for, that he just, just wasn't there, right? And so what ended up happening was she manifested that into her reality through the form of a breakup. So they broke up. They've been in no contact. Well, they were in no contact for quite a few months. And we started coaching together. Now, through our coaching sessions, we really whittled down her story of him being commitment phobic, her story of him having anxiety, her story of her having anxiety, as well as having some significant depression. We whittled down her belief system around relationships and what they meant and how they were supposed to look. We also really focused on her story around her manifesting ability. So her conscious creation power, her ability to generate her own reality. And we focused a lot on that she herself controls her thoughts. That is really and truly at the end of the day, how we generate our reality is by controlling our thoughts, right? By choosing what we assume to be true for ourselves. She had a story that she could not manifest on a specific timeline, that she couldn't manifest what she wanted when she wanted it. And so we really focused on that story. Some of the things that we did to help her gain some belief in herself and her ability to manifest was we worked on a manifestation list. So most of the time with my clients, if you've worked with me, I will give you an exercise where you will manifest 5 things every day for a week, and we track how many things show up. This is just a way for us to really kind of check our power, make sure that we are feeling empowered and that we're definitely recognizing that we are the cause of what's showing up in our reality. Oftentimes I have my clients pick things that are very sense driven. So something they can touch, something they can see, something they can smell, something they can hear, and something that they can taste or feel. Those are really the things that I'm focusing on because it keeps them locked into the present moment, right? When you're really focusing on, oh, I hear this and it sounds beautiful, you're really focusing on that now moment. When you're focusing on something and how it tastes as it's entering your mouth, you're focusing on that now moment, right? So really giving my clients 5 things to manifest for the now moment so that they're present, okay? And then showing them how they themselves have actually selected those experiences that have manifested into their reality. Well, for this particular client, she really had a story around the how and the when. Those were her 2 big stories. She knew she could manifest. She had no problem with that. It was the how and the when. So what we did was we created a homework assignment together where she focused on manifesting specific things at specific times. So we started first with days of the week. She really loved this exercise. So we focused on manifesting things that she wanted to see or hear or touch or whatnot, but on specific days of the week. And I will tell you, just like I tell most of my clients, the first week you may have 1 or 2 things show up, and that's fine, right? This is just a test for ourselves and a way to kind of keep us on track. By the 4th week, she was having over 70% of her things show up. Okay. And by the 6th week, all of her things were showing up when she wanted them to show up. Okay. So she was tracking what was showing up and when it was showing up. Then we focused on tracking how they were showing up. So, for instance, she would say, this $5 bill is going to be given to me by my friend Susie. Okay. On Tuesday. I'm going to get a $5 bill from Susie on Tuesday. So we started tracking that. And I will tell you that within 2 weeks of us starting tracking the how plus the when, she was getting over 80% of those things showing up on her manifestation list. Okay. So this is a really great exercise. It's a great tip for you to try. Once she felt super confident around that and had really worked on the story around her being able to manifest how and when, she started working on her SP, specifically how and when her SP was going to reach out to her. Remember, they'd been in no contact. So she came up with a new story that we worked on together that her SP would reach out to her by contacting her via email. Now, this was an unusual thing for her because they've never contacted each other via email. That's never a method of communication that they ever utilized. So she really wanted her SP to manifest her via email, to contact her via email. And she wanted it to happen on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. She just picked those days arbitrarily. There was no real rhyme or reason. She just thought, okay, I don't really care when it happens, but a Tuesday or Wednesday would be nice. So I will tell you, we worked on her new story. She practiced using her new story. She really focused on it. She really did the work. She dug in. And let me tell you guys, her SP contacted her via her work email on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. And she was super, super, super excited about it. She didn't even know how he got her work email because that was, again, not a form of communication that they ever utilized. But he basically reached out via her work email and asked how she was doing and asked if they could grab coffee. Okay, so that is what happened. So she received an email from her SP on her work email address, and they went and grabbed coffee. At the coffee date, they were talking, kind of catching up, etc. And she just happened to ask him, why did you email me? Like, we've never emailed before. And also, I didn't think you knew my work email address. And he actually shared with her that he had this like burning desire to look her up. And when he went online to her work's website, he noticed that one of the email addresses for one of the people just happened to be their first name with their first initial of their last name at, thework.com. And so he just said, I just tried it on a whim. I didn't even know if it was going to work. And of course, that ended up being her email, and that's how they communicated. So we just had another coaching session recently, and she is now manifesting that they are going on an official date on Sunday. So I am going to tell you that I have no doubt in my mind that she is going to reach out to me. We have a session next week. She's going to reach out to me and tell me that that is exactly what happened. Okay, so let's kind of review a little bit what she did. The first thing is we wrote an entirely new story and worked on an entirely new story for her around her idea of relationships, how she saw her SP, how she saw herself in a relationship, and also how she saw herself as a conscious creator. Then we devised a homework plan to really help her with the idea that she could generate her reality and actually have experiences manifest when she wanted them to manifest. This is huge. This is huge. This took me, when I was doing this on my own, this took me years on my manifestation journey to get to the point where I would be able to manifest on when things were going to show up, when things were going to show up. So this is something that we worked on. She was really diligent about it. She also resisted the urge to notice the 3D. So when the 3D conditions were showing her that things were not going to manifest when she wanted them to, she kept reminding herself, nope, they're happening because I said so. It's happening now. It's happening now because I said so. Period. End of story. She really stuck to that and really stood in that conviction, that absolute fulfillment conviction of this is mine because I said so. Then we focused on, when she felt empowered, we focused on manifesting how things were going to show up. Then she applied that same methodology that we had been working on together to her SP. So, friends, I'm telling you, this is not like a game. This is a true lifestyle. This is a true lifestyle change, a true understanding that you are powerful. You are so powerful. Literally, all you have to do is put your mind to something. You just have to focus on a new story. You just have to start assuming that it's true for you. You just have to have faith in you and your ability to consciously create. And you too can manifest your X on a timeline. All right. Till next week. Bye.